There's a different shift going on right now that I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are aware of it. And so there's really no need to fear anything at this moment. Only thing you have to do is separate yourself from what is corrupt so that you don't get hit by its judgment, because that's basically the times that we're in. Things that were done in the dark are being exposed, and also the soulless are actually being destroyed, or they're in the process of being destroyed. There's that. And also another thing too is anyone who tries to do evil against you, as a person that walks in truth, a person of light, anyone who tries to do evil against you, they are already going against divine order. So what do you think is going to happen when they attempt to do that? They are going to be destroyed by their own evil. And a lot of people don't believe in that. They don't believe because they don't believe in God. Now, you can't say you believe in God and not believe in divine protection. Maybe you don't believe in that because maybe you didn't really see it playing out in your life. Well, sometimes the things that we quote unquote want to happen doesn't always align with God's will. And sometimes the way that we move in this life may not be the best way to move. So that could be a reason why we're not seeing those results, because we don't truly understand divine order and we don't truly understand the wisdom of God, because you would have to be at a certain frequency to understand these things. When you're not at that point yet, you're not going to comprehend wisdom. You're going to only think in terms of ego, in terms of me. I want this to happen to this person because yada yada, everything centered around you. But the thing is, even though this person had some type of effect on you, they have to also, again, they have to have had an effect on divine order, because things shift. When a person goes against divine order, that's when the shift takes place. There's so much that goes into it that we have yet to know. We have yet to find out. But that's just a little tidbit of what I perceive and what I interpret based on these things. So right now we're seeing a shift going on, and it's a lot going on. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Some of you guys, you probably have had the same dreams too. But for me, I literally last night, I've had a dream that there was an individual that tried to unalive me in the dream, but he was destroyed. So he couldn't get to me. He was getting close, but he became unalived in the process. So no weapon prospered. No weapon against me prospered, basically, just like it says. But whatever he tried to do to me, it ended up hitting him before it even got close to me. All right, so there's that. Now, there's a constant theme of this. It's either being protected by someone else, or me protecting myself or protecting those I love. It's like, and this is a good sign too. Pay attention in your dreams to who's protecting you, because that gives you a sign of who you can trust. And in my case, it was my significant other protecting me in the dream, which that's a very good sign. That means that I'm with the right person, because one of the biggest fears we have is being with the wrong person. So if you see a consistency of this pattern, not only in dreams but in real life, this person is there for you. This person's been there with you through it all. You have to keep that person. That person is worth so much. That you can actually safely love them. Yeah, if they protect you, yeah, that's a big thing. And that's a beautiful thing. That's love, because you want to have a man like that rather than a man that you need protection from. Okay, and there's a lot of them like that out here that you need protection from, that you want to get the fuck away from, unfortunately. But anyway, again, if you're a person, if you've been experiencing these dreams of, unaliving demons, unaliving evil spirits, unaliving people that try to unalive you, that right there, if you see a consistency of this pattern of victory, spiritual triumph, then you are reaching higher levels of spiritual ranking. Like, you are on a whole nother level, and that is a good sign. That is a sign of you're gonna have blessings coming your way. coming in the form of having a lot of energy to do what you need to do, and also feeling just a lot of joy. Sometimes blessings come in many different ways. It comes in a way of you just feel good about life. You feel good about yourself, and you have these ideas. This creativity starts to flow through you, and now you know how to get out of a situation. Now you are figuring out, hey, what's the best course of action so that you can start to live independently, away, set apart from this corrupt system, and all these different things. There's so many things that can happen. There's that, and then again, there is nothing to fear. I'm not afraid of the darkness. I'm not afraid of anything that has to do with that, because I know that the Most High is above all of that. So for you to have fear over these evil entities, you're essentially giving the evil entities power over your life by fearing them. Because when you fear an evil entity, it's like saying that they're above God in some way, which we know that's not true. So again, that's why a lot of people say faith over fear. What it means is that faith, when you have faith in God, when you truly understand the way that He operates and the fact that He really truly has dominion over everything, and you understand divine order, and you make sure that you abide by that divine order, then you are going to be in good shape. You're going to be elevated, especially when you go against the grain, also known as going against the flesh. Ascending from having a carnal mind to having a spiritual way of looking at things, and that comes with feeding your spirit. That's why it's very important to do that right now. Me personally, I have felt a tremendous amount of freedom when I stopped allowing the flesh to control me, and it does that mean that I'm perfect? No, but I would say you're damn near there when you start feeding the spirit, because now the things that bring you joy are things that are actually going to elevate you. And that right there, that's a healthy cycle that you want to continue to have, is, doing things that are only going to make you a more enhanced version of yourself. And you're doing it for you. You're not doing it to impress people and to say, "Ooh, look at me, I'm this and I'm that." No, it's because it's for your own self-enrichment. And once you start living like that, just for your self-enrichment and things like that, life is better, because you're not depending on what other people want, what other people approve, what they accept. We're not doing it for that. We're doing it for ourselves, and most importantly, it aligns with God. Essentially, that's what matters. So there's that. But again, I'm telling you, this was an incredible thing, because I remember, I would have dreams where, somebody would try to unalive my significant other, and I end up unaliving the enemy, right? I end up unaliving the enemy that tried to unalive my significant other in a dream. And I go straight to action, and that's how we do. So we've been protecting each other in that way. Now, last night, it was him protecting me. So that's beautiful, because it's not just me protecting him spiritually, but he shows up as a person who protects me as well. Not just in the physical realm, of course, but the spiritual, which is in the dreams. It shows that. It shows. And that it takes a level of loyalty and a lot of intuition. Your intuition is heightened. You can feel the energy. You can feel the presence of evil coming near you, and you eradicate the enemy before it gets close to you. Okay? So you did that. That's a sign that your eyes are open and your senses are becoming, you're becoming more sensitive to these things when they come around your space. Now, this is interesting, because I'm going to tell you the whole dream now that I had last night. In the dream, this old lady was whispering lies about me to this guy. I don't know these people. These are just characters in a dream. And so the guy believes everything she says, and then he tries to unalive me in my sleep, but turns out that he failed. And my significant other got to him before he could get to me, thus protecting me, and that was nice, and I woke up with a sense of empowerment and a sense of I'm not alone in this. And sometimes, again, dreams could use certain people in your life, to show you who you can trust, who's really there for you. And it was beautiful, because for most of my life, I always felt like I had to protect myself at all times. You know, it was just me. It always felt like that, you know, being hyper independent and hyper vigilant and all that. It gets to a point where usually, you know, in my dreams, you know, I would be the one that was just fearlessly coming with, you know, the weapon to basically eradicate the enemy from trying to either destroy me or to try to get to my significant other, you know. But the beautiful thing about it is that you see a theme of reciprocity. It's not just me protecting him, but he's protecting me as well, spiritually, on a spiritual level. So that shows that there is something there that needs to be preserved, you know, despite all these things that are happening, despite, you know, how many times the enemy tries to attack your relationship. If you have a relationship that's actually healthy and is actually equally yoked, that is extremely rare. And when you know for sure that this is the person that you are supposed to be with, you have got to protect that union, protect that covenant, because we live in a world where people don't respect covenants, people don't respect unions, and also some of our wounds too. Some of our wounds can be, some people can take advantage of our wounds, especially the mother and father wound. They can take advantage of that, because those are wounds that are always with us, you know, for forever. I mean, this is stuff we have to live with. And also the SA trauma wounds as well. And the more wounds you have, the easier it is for them to infiltrate. Trust me, I know, because that's how that spiritual warfare, it continues to intensify. And that is why I always try my best to again, I feed the spirit and don't allow anything to have control over you. And I say that because, you know, I had to live a very disciplined life because I have a lot of wounds. I mean, I have a lot of wounds. And I'm not going to lie to you about that. You know, when you have a lot of wounds, you're more susceptible to falling. You know, so there was moments in my life where I was very susceptible to just being, you know, just falling, you know, just falling down and never getting back up and just there, you know. But, you know, this strength, man, when you have this high level of strength, you know, there's just something that it's just something inside you that just won't allow you to stay on the ground for too long. So even when you do fall, you just feel this urge to get up and just keep going, you know. And that's basically the journey for some of us, is that we refuse to stay down. We refuse. We don't want to get down like that, literally. So that's how that is. But again, take that as this is a sign that you're heading in the right direction and divine protection is there. And man, these messages that I share with you guys is really coming from a place of me again, I'm a wounded person, right? But I'm also very much healed. I'm healed enough to walk in the right direction. And, you know, I'm healed enough to do that. I'm healed enough to see. I see things for what they are, you know, but because I'm a very wounded person, there's times where the enemy nearly got me. You know, there's times that I understand the different vulnerabilities that I carry that the enemy will use against me. But see, here's the thing. When you're aware of your weaknesses, when you're aware of these things, it gets a little bit harder for the enemy to really conquer you, because now you know how to protect yourself. You know what needs covering. You know what needs covering. And that's important. So don't be ashamed of, you know, don't be ashamed of your weaknesses and things that you have going on, because you have to really know yourself. And that goes with having self-awareness. When you're aware of yourself, you're aware of the things that you have to watch out for, and you are very guarded of these things, and you protect yourself at all times, protect your energy, your peace, and things like that. Because again, the enemy will poke at your wounds for as long as you live. That me, myself included too. We are all prone to making mistakes, to relapsing, to falling and stuff like that. So, you know, this is why I walk the way I walk, and I humbly seek God, because I understand that I'm very susceptible to attacks, basically, just like a lot of people. I mean, a lot of you guys out there face similar things. You know, you're not alone, so you don't have to feel ashamed. You don't have to feel like I said, You know, I'm a human being as much as I am spiritual as well. And we're kind of like fighting between the carnal mindedness and the more spiritual side of ourselves, and trying to really be above, you know, this world, right? Trying to be above the worldly way of looking at things, and really trying to overcome all these things that is meant to destroy us in the end. And so again, don't give up on yourself. You know, don't allow your wounds to make you give up on yourself, because I know that sometimes, you know, when you have a lot of wounds, you're just like, man, what's the point? You know, you get tired and stuff. But you got to understand that there is beauty in this journey, because now your divine protection, once you start to have that, you know, you start to have, like I said, a sign that I just mentioned here is when you dream about being protected. You know, when you dream about the fact that an enemy's weapon literally did not prosper against you, you know, during a vulnerable time, which would be when you're sleeping, right? Guess what? That's a sign that you're protected, and you need to be very thankful. You know, I'm thankful to the Most High for that, you know. But again, that it takes a lot of our part as well. You know, our part is obeying wisdom, actually taking heed to wisdom, to wise counsel when we encounter it, and you know, really applying that into our lives, because sometimes we don't want to listen. We know some people don't want to listen to knowledge and wisdom. So when you don't listen to those things, you're literally relinquishing life-saving information. And so it's important to be a good listener. It's important to remain humble and open to learning things that can actually save your life. It doesn't matter how old you are. You know, it doesn't matter. There's always something to learn, and you have to make sure that you take heed to wisdom when you do hear it, because that's how, you know, that could save your life. And so I'm very thankful for the position I'm at right now. You know, it seems like things are clearing up right now. And again, you know, attacks never stop, but you can always control the way that you react, and also strengthen your spirit so that when it does hit you, it's like it never hit you, or it's almost like it bounces right off of that divine aura that is protecting you. If you're experiencing dreams like that show you the theme of divine protection, show you the theme of how the enemy will never prosper. If they try to come against anybody that comes against you will not prosper. That right there is a good sign. That means you're in the right direction. And when you are walking faithfully in the right direction with the right amount of fuego to where they can't touch you. Who the fuck wants to touch fire, first of all? If you walk with fire, no one can touch you, because nobody wants to touch a hot stove, do they? Unless they're crazy enough to do it, and guess what? What's going to happen to them, right? Or they're arrogant enough to think, oh yeah, they think they could just put that hand through the fire and touch you. No. They're going to get burned real bad. They're going to get roasted spiritually. And that's the worst kind of roast. It's the worst kind of roast when you get roasted spiritually, because it will never stop. So the enemy, again, you don't have to fear the enemy. The enemy is going to get destroyed. It's already been said, you know. It's already been mentioned. It's already been told. So you don't have to worry about any of this. Like, you walk, continue to stay strong at all, you know. And also, you know, take good care of yourself.